Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here with part 11 of our F1 2021 MyTeam career mode. This time out we are at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. Last time out we were in Belgium and the pace around there was pretty decent. Unfortunately, just through corners like Pouon, the AI have way too much speed compared to the player. They're just able to take those corners a lot quicker than you're just really able to, than what's physically possible. That was really the only thing that sort of caused us a bit of lack of pace, and in the end, I think it very well cost us getting points. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty good. We were on the edge of points. We ended up finishing in P12, battling away for P10 and P11 at different stages. So yeah, we're definitely making progress with this car and in the grid, even though the performance sheet doesn't really show it as well, because I guess it accounts for durability. So actual car pace might be a bit different to what the performance chart shows, which you can see here. Heading into the weekend, we do move up a lot closer to Haas this time out. We've moved a bit away from Williams, and it actually looks like we've brought the most upgrades in compared to any other car in the field. You can see Aston Martin overtake McLaren. McLaren sort of dropped off. They made quite a big charge earlier on in the season. Now they've dropped down to the 5th quickest team when it looked like they could have very well overtaken Red Bull and moved up to try and catch Mercedes. But other than that, there hasn't been any other changes. By the looks of things, AlphaTauri, Alpine and Alfa Romeo are all very close. So this midfield battle is very, very much closing up. And at this point, points isn't a sure thing for anyone in the midfield. It's a big battle. You've got to be at the top of your game to get it. And now it's time to head into qualifying very early on in the video, as just sort of changing the format once again to try and get into the action a bit quicker. You can see here, ending our first lap of Q1, we're going to cross the line, and it's not a great lap. It's 4/10 off of Matsushita there, and we're also behind Latifi, the slowest lap time to have been done at this point. And you can see once everyone's done their times, we're down in dead last here with 2.7 seconds off of pole, and still 4/10 off of Matsushita. So we're going to have to go again on some fresh tyres, and I definitely felt there was some good pace that we could be making up. It definitely wasn't the best lap that I've ever done, and you can see just through turn 1, I make up a 10th, and heading through the hairpin, I lose a bit of time on entry, but after exiting the hairpin there, we start to make it back up. And you can see by the time we get into the 3rd sector, we're 9/10 up, and we just have this one last proper corner to really try and gain any time. And you can see we're going to be about 9.5 up on our last time. So what kind of lap time can this be? We're going to see as we cross the line. Are we through to Q2? Not quite. It's P18, which isn't bad. Making it into Q2 isn't a regular occurrence for us just yet. You can see there, only 2/10 off Mick Schumacher, though. Schumacher done a great job there to make it out in P16. That Haas it's not quite as good as the Alfa Romeos. We're about equal on pace with the Haas, so yeah, obviously we could have done it, and there was definitely time in that second lap that I did, but P18 certainly not the worst. We've qualified worse than that at other rounds, and unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to be winning that rivalry against Fernando Alonso. Just the Alpines are still just a bit too quick for that to happen. But you can see we get to driver acclaim level 8 there. Matsushita getting very close to driver acclaim 9, and the team acclaim level 12. So yeah, very close. But now, time to move on to the Grand Prix.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside at races across Europe and throughout the world. Now at long last, they have a Grand Prix to call their own. It's a warm welcome once again to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout a 2.6-mile lap. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Vettel, Gasly, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, and Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen, and Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Giovinazzi, Sainz, Benjamin, and Daniel Ricciardo. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mazepin, Matsushita, Latifi, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So here we are, sitting on the grid preparing for the race. You can see it's actually a bit of a different strategy. We're going to be starting on the hard compound tyres and pitting at the end of lap 24 for the soft, so we should be mega quick at the end of the race, and actually changing the strategy there to be 23 laps on the hards, just to get that sort of extra running in on those soft tyres, maybe get an undercut on some other cars around us. And yeah, you can see, just lowering the fuel as per usual, only going to have 0.1 laps of extra fuel in the car. But yeah, definitely a different sort of strategy. I think it's our first time starting on the hard compound tyres, but it's lights out and away we go. And you can see it's a very good getaway, actually. We get a much better start than Giovinazzi, having to move to the middle of the track to get alongside there. And Ricciardo gets a great start on the softs. He dives to the inside after having that grid penalty, so he's done a good job. You can see he's already just behind his teammate Lando Norris there, but we're going to be going side by side with Carlos Sainz through this very twisty section. We're actually going to try and go around the outside, sort of like Fernando Alonso did in real life Grand Prix around here just a week ago. So yeah, holding on to P15 at this point. We're nowhere near points so far, but yeah, on the hard tyres, I don't think we're going to be overtaking too many cars. It's more about the end of the race where we'll have that pace advantage, where hopefully we can start making up a couple more positions. But you can see Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari is right behind us. He's eager to make his way through. He's on soft tyres, but you can see Daniel Ricciardo on the soft tyres is getting massively held up by Mick Schumacher, who's got himself up into P13. So yeah, Schumacher is actually doing us a bit of a favour here and holding up those cars, and maybe later on in the race, if Ricciardo isn't able to use the advantage of these softs, we might be able to get him later. But you can see Ricciardo does get through, and now we're all over the back of Mick Schumacher, the German, in the Haas. They're doing a good job to be this far up the field. And now we're going to battle away for this P14 position. You can see Carlos Sainz also in this battle, going a bit wide through that last sweeper there. And you can see we're going to be right on the slipstream, and all three of us right up against the pit wall there as we all try and tow and pass each other. And we're going to dive around the outside of turn one. You can see Schumacher getting a little bit loose there, and we do make the move, and we put a car crucially between ourselves and Sainz there, because Sainz looks very, very feisty in that Ferrari with those soft tyres. So hopefully now we can try and pull away, maybe even closing on Ricciardo. You can see once again he's caught behind now Yuki Tsunoda on the hards. So certainly not the sort of start Ricciardo would have wanted, getting constantly caught in behind cars on hard tyres. But now, cutting on to the end of lap 2, you can see Carlos Sainz is actually right on the back of Mick Schumacher here, and he's going to dive to the inside there. He's going to have actually no DRS yet, because we're only going on to lap 3 now, but he is to the inside, and he does get the move done pretty easily on Schumacher there. And you can see at the same time Ricciardo was able to make the move on Tsunoda, so soft tyre runners starting to make their way forward, and Sainz is now going to have his sights set on us. So we're going to have to see if we can maybe close in on Tsunoda and get a move on him to put another car between us. And you can see here on lap 3, we're not quite able to do that, as Sainz is just very, very quick on those soft tyres. And actually, there's a yellow flag here, so this might save us. And you can see as we go through turn 1, it's Valtteri Bottas out in the gravel. And that yellow flag did save us, because Sainz was surely going to get through, but he had to back out of it because of that yellow flag. So Valtteri Bottas is leading the championship by 1 point over his teammate Lewis Hamilton at this point. So it's a huge shame to see, and you can see, we're going to look at a replay, he was leading the Grand Prix by quite a bit as well over Hamilton, and he just lights up the rears as he gets about mid-corner there, and he's facing the wrong way, so it takes him a fair bit of time here to turn the car around. And you can see just everyone filtering through as he drops down the leaderboard there. You see, there we are going around the outside of Sainz, and by the time he's back on the track, he's going to be right down in P21 behind our teammate Matsushita there. So he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back in the points. But that's not just his championship that he may have put in danger there. Mercedes are also at risk now of possibly losing the Constructors' title So yeah, maybe we could see Bottas in a bit of trouble with Mercedes there. In fact, he could even be dropped by at the end of the season. So yeah, the championship defining that spin could be. But you can see here on lap 4, Sainz trying to attack us here into turn 13, but it's very difficult to pull off a move there unless you have much more speed than the car you're trying to overtake. So we do hold on to P13 for now. I don't know if points are going to be on the table. I don't know if those guys at the front are going to be on the 2-stop. But we're just going to have to wait and see. But you can see as we go to lap 5 now, we're a lot closer to Tsunoda. So as we head down towards turn 1, I'm going to dive to the inside here. Can't afford to waste any time on this strategy. And you can see we actually get the car lighting up the wheels a bit as we go side by side with Tsunoda. We're going to have the outside around the hairpin, which is usually the better line, as we're going to be able to hang it nice and wide. And we're going to get the better run out of the corner. And you can see we're still actually going side by side here with Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. But we do get ahead just before we get to the sweeper here, and you can see Sainz trying to find a way through, but that could be an important move there as we get ourselves up into P12. So now we have to work on trying to pull as much as a gap as possible on Sainz there. You can see we have a big moment heading into the right-hander there, but our next target is Esteban Ocon there in the Alpine, and maybe even Fernando Alonso. You can see the points are not very far up the road. So heading on to lap number 6 now, you can see Tsunoda is still holding on to Sainz. So this has allowed us to pull a pretty nice gap, and we're just going to have a look behind to see what's happening. Tsunoda does have DRS, but that's not going to stop Sainz. Z tries to go to the outside now as they head down towards turn 1. Is he going to be able to pull the move off here? The Ferrari on the much quicker tyres, and the Ferrari is just a quicker car as it is, and he actually gets the move done a lot easier than we were able to. So once again, we're going to have Sainz on our tail having a little bit of moment there as we head into the hairpin. So yeah, unfortunately, not quite closing in on Ocon as quick as I would like. We're closing in a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to actually pass him. You can see Sainz is already right on our rear as we head on to the end of lap 7, and it's not even a question. He flies past us before we even go to the start-finish line there and head into turn 1. He's able to get back onto the racing line, so I'm going to try and stick with him, but that Ferrari is mega quick. I'm actually surprised we're able to hold him off as long as we were, but yeah, he's going to be pretty much gone, I'd say. So we're going to have to hope for some sort of safety car, I'm thinking, if we want to actually get points this round. Unfortunately, it looks like we may be going 3 rounds without scoring points, but to be at this point of the season and already at least somewhat in contention for points, I'd say is pretty good. But you can see we're going to have a look ahead at Carlos Sainz. He's already caught up to Esteban Ocon only a couple laps after passing us, and he's to the inside, and it's actually a very easy move. He's got the move done by the midpoint of the corner, so now his mission is going to be chased down Fernando Alonso. But you can see further on in that lap, here's Valtteri Bottas making his way through the field, and he's now going to go around the outside at turn 13 on Mick Schumacher there. So like I was saying, you're only really going to get that move if you've got a lot more pace in the car you're passing, and the Mercedes versus a Haas, and the Mercedes is on softs, it's not really a question. You can see going on to lap 11, here's Bottas now going for the move on Tsunoda. He's to the inside of turn 1, and he's going to get this move done on the AlphaTauri. You can see he's actually still going side by side, so not quite as easy as it was for Carlos Sainz at this point, as they're still going side by side actually. Tsunoda putting up a big fight here, which is very interesting because it's sort of not really a competition. Mercedes is going to get past one way or another, and he is through, and now he's going to be chasing us down as we are only about a third of the way through this race. So yeah, you can see he's already right on the back of our car, so I don't think there's really much point putting up too much of a fight against Bottas. He's also got that fight for the championship on his mind, so he's going to be trying to make as many moves as possible. You can see flying past us, similar to Sainz, not even a question. Don't even have to really let him through. He's able to do it all on his own. But you can see here, actually, Pierre Gasly exiting the pit lane. We're very close to him here. So he's on the hard tyres. He's going for the one-stop. That kind of confirms for me that those guys that started on the softs are going to be doing a one-stop as well. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be gaining too much from this extra strategy by the looks of things. We're just going to have to try and fight our way to stay in this P12, P13 position that we've sort of got on hold, and try and fight off Tsunoda. You can see Daniel Ricciardo just behind us. He's also on hards. So yeah, definitely not going to be gaining from one less pit stop or anything like that. But we are staying pretty close to Gasly. But it is very interesting to see that Gasly started on softs, Tsunoda started on hards, and Gasly was able to pull an entire pit stop on his teammate there. You can see cutting to lap 17, Stroll going very slowly there. It looked like there was an engine failure there for the Aston Martin. So Aston Martin are really, they've got a good car. Like we were looking at the performance graphic earlier on in the episode, and they're right up there with the likes of Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull even. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate when it gets to the race when it actually matters. They seem to have just a constant amount of issues, whether it's making contact with other cars or having sort of mechanical failures like that. And you can see that was confirmation of an engine failure there for the Canadian there, and he is pulled over as we go through turn 1 once again on lap 19. And yeah, at this point we're in P9, but obviously we're not going to be staying there. As we cut to lap 23, you can see we are going to be coming into the pit, and actually Tsunoda is going to continue on, which is surprising. On lap 24 now we tick over to, and we're actually the only ones in the pit lane. So interesting to note, they're putting it forward by that one lap earlier on when we were looking at our strategy. Could very well benefit us here. I don't know who we're really racing. You can see Esteban Ocon has already gone through. We actually got Sebastian Vettel behind us. So Vettel having a mare of a race as well. He's on the hard tyres. I believe he started on the soft, so he's made a pit stop already. Even if he hadn't made a pit stop, he's all the way down here with us. So it looks like it's going to be another non-point scoring race for Aston Martin. They're just really, really struggling at this midway point of the season to get any points. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. You can see Vettel is harassing the back of us there. He's got the warm tyres, but once these softs heat up, we should hopefully be able to pull a bit of a gap there on the German. And you can see already now about halfway through, and we are starting to make up a bit of time through the corners. But yeah, Aston Martin really need to sort of evaluate what's going wrong for them, because every round it seems, we always seem to see them fighting back here with us when they should really be fighting up halfway through the points, or even, you know, maybe challenging for podiums at this point with how that car is looking in the performance chart. But you can see after just one lap on these soft tyres, Tsunoda is 3.5 seconds behind us. So the undercut around here, absolutely massive. And yes, glad I pulled off that strategy change before we started the race, because that could very well help keep us ahead of Tsunoda. But you can see actually cutting forward a few laps, Vettel just sort of got this pace out of nowhere, and it's sort of a similar corner to Puon here, where the AI are just able to take that right-hand sweeper so much quicker than the player is physically able to. So Vettel able to sweep around the outside of us there, and we've actually got Tsunoda. He sort of tagged onto the back of Vettel and closed in on us here. So yeah, we did make that good strategy call in pitting lap earlier. It's just a shame that it's sort of 2 rounds in a row here where there's that one corner that the AI have that the player just cannot match, especially since the Aston Martin is a better car as it is than ours. So yeah, hopefully we can sort of tag onto the back of Vettel here and at least let him tow us around and keep us ahead of Tsunoda. But if we can try and get back ahead of him, that'd be even better. You can see battling away for it. Looks like it's going to be a P12 here, similar to last time out in Belgium where we also got a P12. But as we head down to turn 1, I wasn't really closing in, but I decided to go for the dive anyway. We've got the nice fresh soft tyres, so I've got the confidence under the braking, and we are going to be going side by side through here. We seem to be going side by side through this section quite a bit. This race, you can see Hamilton sets the fastest lap, so we're not too far away from getting over lap, but we do get the run on Vettel, and we do... we actually haven't pulled ahead. We're actually still going side by side. Vettel with a lot of confidence, more confidence than Tsunoda had earlier on in the race. You can see once again, Vettel's just able to carry so much more speed around there than we are even able to. So Tsunoda's still staying right on behind us as he's also able to take that speed. Just, yeah, unfortunate that AI. If a player tried to hang it around the outside like that, even with us on the softs, we wouldn't be able to even think about that. We'd end up in the gravel or spinning or something. So hopefully Cody's can get that sorted out. But yeah, at the moment, we've just got to sort of hold on to Vettel here. We're not getting points. It's sort of more of a pride thing at this point. As, yeah, we've got points in this season, so it's not a case of trying to finish as high up as possible to finish ahead of other non-point scoring teams. But, yeah, you know, as a racer, you want to finish 12th over 13th, even if it doesn't really mean anything in the overall championship. You can see this time heading into turn 1, we're not able to send a dive on Vettel. Just wasn't quite close enough. Hopefully we can sort of hang on to the back of him here and at least keep DRS. So you can see getting a bit desperate there, trying to go for a dive around the outside and trying to get a bit of a cutback, but just lighting up the rears and wasn't able to do it. But we are staying nice and close. But just to demonstrate how much quicker the AI can go through here than we can, we head through. I ran a little bit wide, sure, but look how much of a gap Vettel is able to pull there. Over 7/10 he's able to pull, so yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a lot of lap time. No matter how good you are around the rest of the lap, you're never really going to be able to gain on an AI that can do that around corners. You can see we've only just about got DRS now as the gap opens up to about 8.5 tenths, and Sonoda trying to attack us. We're able to sort of hold it there as he wasn't fully alongside, and we are going to have DRS by the looks of it as we head on to lap 25, but yeah, unfortunately, another race that's not going to be really of any value to us here in terms of scoring points and sort of trying to fight Alpine in the Constructors, which is completely crazy that we're even thinking about fighting Alpine in the Constructors, but that's the reality of it, and we're going to push to try and do that. But yeah, at this point, it's just unfortunately not going to be the case. You can see we are staying nice and close, and Hamilton is just setting consecutive lap times. He is absolutely on fire in this Grand Prix, so it would have been really interesting to see what happened if Bottas hadn't have made that mistake earlier on in the race, and very possibly we could have had a very interesting battle there for the lead, with Hamilton just being as lightning quick as he is. But you can see we headed to the end of the Grand Prix here, lap 36. We're going across the line to finish P13 here, a decent performance.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So here we are with the results for the Dutch Grand Prix. You can see Lewis Hamilton winning out against the home favourite Max Verstappen, and Charles Leclerc rounding out the podium in the Ferrari. You can see Sainz was able to get into the points there, so was Ricciardo. We finished P13 ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, and Matsushita ends up in P20. In terms of the driver standings, we dropped down to 10th below Pierre Gasly, only 3 points behind them there in the AlphaTauri. But to be up in that position in the first place is pretty good. You can see, as I was saying, the Aston Martins are really not having a great season. We're outscoring both of them at this point. We're also outscoring our rival Fernando Alonso, which is nice, but unfortunately that doesn't really do much for the rivalry. In terms of the constructors, Alpine re-overtake us there, and we drop back down to 8th, but our goal for the season was to finish 10th or better, and that is absolutely going to happen. I can't see Haas or Williams scoring any points, really. Maybe they'll score a couple, but not enough to catch us at this point, I don't think. You can see in the rivalry breakdown, Alonso pulls another 2 points clear here, so 21 to 15 with only 3 races to go, although he could very well get to 30 points before that deadline. So yeah, unfortunately that's going to be a rivalry loss. We'll lose a bit of driver acclaim for that, but nothing you can really do. You can see we gain a little bit of driver acclaim, so does Matsushita. In terms of team acclaim, we do make up to level 12 there. In terms of sponsor bonuses, we get 1 sponsor bonus there, getting 2 interview questions, but unfortunately we didn't get enough interviews for me to get 4 interview questions, so that's a bit of a shame there. We do make about 300 grand there, so 4.7 million in the bank for the team, looking very, very nice. And yeah, that's going to be very important to have that kind of money, because you can see as we head back to the garage, we're going to have a contract renewal with Matsushita. However, has he done enough to be retained in the team? That's a very difficult question to answer, because sure, the car's not the best, but we've been getting points and not quite getting up there, and you can see we're not going to re-sign Matsushita. In fact, we're going to go for Robert Schwartzman there, and he agrees there, a medium risk offer. So Robert Schwartzman will be taking over the reins of that second car for the second half of this season. He was $1 million cheaper, and overall rating was 2 better than Matsushita. So overall, I think we can only benefit from this move. Hopefully he can sort of get up there. I don't sort of expect him to be getting points. The F2 drivers usually they require a fair bit of development to be able to get up there, but yeah, it'd be nice to see Schwartzman just getting a bit further up there, maybe being able to support us at some point. But yeah, it was a change that I thought was necessary. Matsushita, it just wasn't really performing as high as I would have hoped, battling away with those Williams when our car was, I want to say, a fair bit better than theirs. You can see we've still got 3.7 million though to play with, so we're going to purchase a fabrication upgrade for the powertrain department there. And we're going to have a look at also upgrading personnel. So yeah, we're developing the personnel a bit earlier than I was sort of planning on, but I decided to do it there. You can see it's going to cost 1.5 million. We've only got 35,000 left in the bank, so thanks to signing Schwartzman there, we've saved that million, and yeah, that's allowed us to upgrade our personnel department there. So yeah, I think overall it was a good move to make. I know it's a bit controversial dropping him after just half a season, not really a lot of time to prove himself, but yeah, I've been keeping an eye on him over the season, and yeah, I just don't think he's really been performing to what we need. In terms of R&D, we do purchase an aero upgrade there, and we've still got 864 resource points to play with, so just having a look through any possible upgrades, you can see we do have an ERS that we can afford there, but unfortunately, just too many upgrades happening at once, and we're not able to go for it. So that's why it's so important to upgrade those departments there. And you can see we do actually get an engine upgrade from Renault. So yeah, supplier upgrade being brought in, which is always nice to see. That will boost ourselves. It'll also boost Alpine, but yeah, that's nice to see. You can see we do get a chassis upgrade in here. So just having a look around to see if we can afford anything. We can afford that plank there to help with weight redistribution, and that's going to come in after the Russian Grand Prix, so we are going to purchase that, and we've only got 89 resource points left at this point, but we do have a lot of upgrades in the bank and on the way. So yeah, now we're all set for the Italian Grand Prix, which will be the next round we head to. If you did enjoy this episode, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.